Chapter 13. Little Gavroche by Victor Hugo from the book Les Misérables. 8 or 9 years after the events narrated in the second part of this story, people noticed on the Boulevard du Temple, and in the regions of the Château d'Eau, a little boy 11 or 12 years of age, who would have realized with tolerable accuracy that ideal of the gamin sketched out above, if with the laugh of his age on his lips he had not had a heart absolutely sombre and empty. This child was well muffled up in a pair of man's trousers, but he did not get them from his father, and a woman's chemise, but he did not get it from his mother. Some people or other had clothed him in rags out of charity. Still, he had a father and a mother. But his father did not think of him, and his mother did not love him. He was one of those children most deserving of pity, among all, one of those who have father and mother, and who are orphans nevertheless. This child never felt so well as when he was in the street. The pavements were less hard to him than his mother's heart. His parents had dispatched him into life with a kick. He simply took flight. He was a boisterous, pallid, nimble, wide-awake, jeering lad, with a vivacious but sickly air. He went and came, sang, played at hopscotch, scraped the gutters, stole a little, but like cats and sparrows, gaily laughed when he was called a rogue, and got angry when called a thief. He had no shelter, no bread, no fire, no love, but he was merry because he was free. When these poor creatures grow to be men, the millstones of the social order meet them and crush them, but so long as they are children, they escape because of their smallness. The tiniest hole saves them. Nevertheless, abandoned as this child was, it sometimes happened every 2 or 3 months that he said, "Come, I'll go and see Mama." Then he quitted the boulevard, the Cirque, the Porte Saint-Martin, descended to the quays, crossed the bridges, reached the suburbs, arrived at the Salpêtrière, and came to a halt where, precisely at that double number 5052 with which the reader is acquainted, at the Gorbeau hovel. At that epoch the Hove 52 generally deserted and eternally decorated with the placard, "Chambers to let," chanced to be, a rare thing, inhabited by numerous individuals who, however, as is always the case in Paris, had no connection with each other. All belonged to that indigent class, which begins to separate from the lowest of petty bourgeoisie in straitened circumstances, and which extends from misery to misery into the lowest depths of society, down to those two beings in whom all the material things of civilization end, the sewerman who sweeps up the mud, and the rag-picker who collects scraps. The principal lodger of Jean Valjean's day was dead, and had been replaced by another exactly like her. I know not what philosopher has said, old women are never lacking. This new old woman was named Madame Bergen, and had nothing remarkable about her life except a dynasty of 3 paroquets, who had reigned in succession over her soul. The most miserable of those who inhabited the hovel were a family of 4 persons, consisting of father, mother, and 2 daughters, already well grown, all 4 of whom were lodged in the same attic, one of the cells which we have already mentioned. At first sight, this family presented no very special feature except its extreme destitution. The father, when he hired the chamber, had stated that his name was Jondrette, some time after his moving in, which had borne a singular resemblance to the entrance of nothing at all. To borrow the memorable expression of the principal tenant, this Jondrette had said to the woman, who, like her predecessor, was at the same time portress and stair-sweeper, "Mother so-and-so, if anyone should chance to come and inquire for a Pole or an Italian, or even a Spaniard perchance, it is I." This family was that of the merry barefoot boy. He arrived there and found distress and, what is still sadder, no smile, a cold hearth and cold hearts. When he entered he was asked, "Whence come you?" He replied, "From the street." When he went away they asked him, "Whither are you going?" He replied, "Into the streets." His mother said to him, "What did you come here for?" This child lived in this absence of affection, like the pale plants which spring up in cellars. It did not cause him suffering, and he blamed no one. He did not know exactly how a father and mother should be. Nevertheless, his mother loved his sisters. We have forgotten to mention that on the Boulevard du Temple this child was called Little Gavroche. Why was he called Little Gavroche? Probably because his father's name was Jondrette. It seems to be the instinct of certain wretched families to break the thread. The chamber which the Jondrettes inhabited in the Gorbeau hovel was the last at the end of the corridor. The cell next to it was occupied by a very poor young man who was called M. Marius. Let us explain who this M. Marius was.